Hello everybody, Raspberry Barrel here, and finally we're back to our Star versus the Forces of Evil biography readings. It's been such a busy semester for me, and I'm so excited to get back to reading some Biographies of Mewni. Of course, we've had some Gravity Falls Journal 3 for a while, but I can't believe we're finally back for Star Versus. Thank you all for your patience, and I hope you're excited to get back at it. And today we'll be reading another biography by the one, the only Infaminxy on DeviantArt, and we'll be reading Thea, the Queen of Gold. So before we begin, please go check out Infaminxy on DeviantArt and go see the rest of their wonderful story, universe, and art. Please forgive me if I stutter, hesitate, or mispronounce anything, and for any noises in the background. Let's begin. Thea, the Queen of Gold. Born with glimmering golden hair, she was born with a gift, and made Mewni the richest of all with swift. Thea Butterfly, the Queen of Gold. Born 297, died 350, was Queen 316 through 340, married to Acetone Roxon. Children, Festivia Butterfly, Capella Butterfly, and Pyra Butterfly. Thea Butterfly, the heiress of Mewni, was born in 297 with gold hair and green eyes of her father and Pluto glyphs on her cheeks. Only a few minutes after her birth, the little shrub of golden hair on her head started to sparkle and glimmer as if it were actually gold. Her gold hair gave her a mass amount of attention growing up, which ended up giving her a lot of pride and self-confidence, as well as many people wanting to be her friend. Her two best friends were her cousins, Sheltridge Malay and Lowlight Stone, for the main reason of them not just wanting to be her friend for fame or popularity. At the age of 6, she started going to council meetings with Medusa and Aldridge. She never listened to anything other than the discussions of treasury and tax, run by House Stone and Malay. The council meetings got her into things like money and banking, and soon enough her father started teaching her about banking, tax, etc. During the ball of her friend Lowlight's birthday in 305, her and her friends made a rather Valley Girl entrance, catching the eyes of many boys, including the Prince of the Clifford Kingdom, Halon, and a rather shy boy, Acetone Roxon. Both of them competed against each other the whole night for Thea's attention, with Halon ultimately winning, taking Thea into the dance as Acetone watched sadly. Halon and Thea went on to be friends, but when they were 13, started dating. It was nothing too serious, as it was both their first time in a relationship with each other. But one thing everyone knew was that they were rather touchy with each other. Thea inherited the wand in 311 and made many spells on the topic of money and gold, obviously. During the party, Thea ran into Acetone. Surprisingly, they talked for a good period of time before saying goodbye. That was only one of the many encounters, though, as she would run into Acetone whenever at council meetings or at parties. They became friends despite being the opposite of each other. Though the more they got to know each other, the more Halon became jealous. Thea's wand. Thea began to become bored with her magic studies, so in her spare time she helped her uncle, Hatridge, manage the checkbooks of the kingdom's business and shops. Through this, she learned a lot about taxes and taxing, a lot more than she'd learned from her father. During the ball at her 16th birthday in 313, Acetone asked her to dance. Since she hadn't seen Halon anywhere and was bored, she accepted. After a few minutes of dancing and chatting, her and Acetone got a little too caught up in the moment and kissed. Acetone apologized immediately. Thea accepted the apology, but left him to go to the corner of the room. Thea's overall thoughts on the kiss are unknown, whether she felt guilty for cheating on Halon or not, but some speculate. Anyways, Halon obviously found out about the kiss, due to gossip spreading like a wildfire, especially since Lowlight and Seltridge were in the crowd. Halon and Thea had a huge argument, which ended in a breakup. Thea wasn't greatly affected by the breakup, but on the other hand, Halon was miserable. Without Halon, Thea managed to become more close to Acetone, and then started a romantic relationship with him in 314. Thea became queen in 316 after getting married to Acetone. During her wedding, she had to be constantly on guard as people tried to snatch her hair, and when dancing, even had to blast someone with her wand after they started pulling at her hair. Within the first few months of her reign, Thea recommended founding businesses in Mewni to boost the economy and create a stock. Thea's crown. It took a while and a lot of council meetings, but Thea picked one of the many recommended ideas to fund, a Mewni mail system. Thea founded 4 printing presses throughout Mewni, with the main one being the Royal Thearian paper, named after Queen Thea herself, obviously. The papers would also cover the news in some of the surrounding kingdoms and would be delivered by razor cranes or a normal paperman. Most of the papers were free, but some had to be paid for monthly if wanted. The highest price at the time would be 20 suns for each month charged by the Thearian paper, but the money that was being paid boosted the economy by large amounts. During the start of summer in 318, a fire had been set off in part of the village and quickly spread overnight. The fire was only managed to be put out at dawn the next morning, when over 90 had become killed. After investigation, it had been found that this was the doing of a rogue group of civilians from the Oyster Kingdom. Thea immediately confronted King Oyster about the subject, whom denied over ordering his subjects to attack the Butterfly Kingdom, and that he greatly apologized. Nevertheless, Thea was still suspicious and had ordered spies to spy on the king. The spies reported hearing him demanding soldiers to go in disguise as civilians to assassinate the queen. Thea panicked and decided to take her family to hide in the sanctuary while the guards dealt with the assassinators. After everything was clear, Thea confronted the king once more, but instead of trying to cover the situation up as Thea expected, he declared war. Due to having large amounts of money from the mail systems, war expenses were not a problem, at least for the first few months. Further down the line, war expenses were very much a problem. The Oyster Kingdom had advanced weapons and massive water cannons. Soon, Mewni's saves were basically empty, and the people started to go poor as taxes increased. Thea had massive problem on her hands. Thea was thinking on the side of her banking skills and what she could do to increase money. I made a joke saying, "Why not just use magic to make the money?" She took the joke seriously, which I may or may not have wanted her to, and came up with a creative idea. Since her hair had caught the attention of hundreds her entire life, she figured it had quite some value. She created a spell to instantly expand her hair and cast it on herself, making her hair extend multiple feet. Thea began to cut and sell her hair, which batch of strands cost 500 suns. In only a week, people were going wayward for a batch of her hair, and Thea gained almost 67,000 suns. With all of the new money, Thea was able to pay war expenses and export weapons from other kingdoms easier. By the end of 318, the war with Oyster Kingdom was over, and Butterfly Kingdom had won. Even though the war was over, Thea still sold her hair as it was great for the kingdom's economy. Soon, other kingdoms started to request trade for Thea's hair, and she gladly accepted. This was great for the kingdom's finances. Thea had to build 4 new money vaults and used the spell on her hair almost 20 times a day. In Dragonette of 319, Thea gave birth to Festivia, a girl with purple hair and eyes of her father and curved diamonds on her cheeks. With all the new money, Thea was able to expand the Butterfly Kingdom. She built new residential areas as well as expanding the Celestrum. People started to do creative things with her golden hair. Some weavers started making clothes and tapestries from it. A legend also started to spread that one who claimed a piece of Thea's hair would be granted with eternal luck for the rest of their life. Something else Thea personally did with her hair was smelt it into golden coins and ingots. She kept a giant safe full of golden coins, gems, and ingots. Sometimes she would swim in it even. Another thing she did with the money was pay blacksmiths to build bigger and better weapons, and for armors to build stronger armor. In 321, Thea gave birth to Capella, a girl with golden hair, but with no shimmer, purple eyes and pink swirls on her cheeks. Thea had her final daughter, Pyra, in 322. She had light maroon hair and green eyes with a pair of pink four-pointed stars on her cheeks. Thea decided to start a 3-year project in 325. She wanted to renovate some of the districts of Mewni and build new shops in them, as well as expand the storage units at Port Watterson. Since the project was completed on Festivia's 9th birthday in 328, a huge celebration was held at the castle to celebrate. In 333, Thea passed the wand of Festivia. Thea decided to put growing her hair to a stop in 335. She saw it had no use anymore, and she had already done enough for Mewni with her hair, and with that she cut the last batch of her hair and sold it. Even though not much hair had been preserved through the years, some museums still have strands of her hair to this day. Thea passed the crown to Festivia in 340, and later witnessed the Second Mudwelling War. Thea witnessed the birth of her granddaughter, Asteria, in 342, and her other grandchildren, Hope and Harvest, in the following years. Thea started complaining of headaches and constant migraines in the year of 349. They got worse with each passing month, and healers said that she had a disease in her head due to wand radiation from the constant spell casting on her hair. The disease got even worse the next year, and she started fainting and vomiting almost weekly. Sadly, a healer pronounced her disease was in its fatal stage, and that Thea had about a month left. Thea spent the next month with her family, especially with Festivia and her grandchildren. Thea then sadly passed in 350 after dinner and was buried in a completely golden coffin. Thea brushing and cutting her hair. And that was the biography of Thea, the Queen of Gold, by Infaminxy on DeviantArt. I hope you all enjoyed. Please go check out Infaminxy. Link in the description. Thank you all so much for listening and for your patience, and I'll see you next time with our next biography of a Queen of Mewni. Please consider liking and subscribing to see more. Thanks guys, and have a great rest of your day. Bye!